Welcome to the next installment of my video lecture series in economics. And in this particular video lecture, I'm going to be taking a look at the utility generated from a city and how that relates to city size. And in particular, this video relates to my urban economics class, chapter 4, figure 4.1. So here we have a graph that shows us a relationship between the utility per worker generated in a city and the number of workers in millions in that particular city. And so what we're going to do is we're going to graph out information relating to the number of workers in the city and the utility per worker generated at that worker population size in that city. So let's start with 1 million. So there's going to be a utility per worker generated of U1. And let's say the city increases in size from 1 million to 3 million. You can see here that there is an increase in the utility per worker. So what I want you to realize that for most cities, as the size of the city increases, the utility per worker increases. So there are initially benefits that are being generated just simply from the size of the city. You could say that there are economies of scale with respect to utility per worker, that the utility per worker is increasing as the city gets larger. For example, it has more employers. We could see the effect of having a clustering of industries where costs are decreasing per unit, and that gets passed on to consumers, the workers themselves, in the form of lower prices. There might be a greater diversity of entertainment available as the city gets larger and larger. But what I want you to realize that as this continues, the costs of the city getting larger start to outweigh the benefits of the city getting larger. So let's say we get to the point where this city is equal to 7 million workers. You can see that the utility of 7 million workers decreases per worker. So the utility per worker when the city has 7 million workers is lower than if it was 3 million workers. And this has to do, once again, is that the costs of the city getting larger start to outweigh the benefits. For example, there might be increased crowding. There might be congestion issues with respect to traffic or public transportation, etc. Crime might increase more dramatically because the city's getting larger and there might be a larger population density associated with that. So generally there are higher levels of crime. Also, the provision of services is getting less efficient in this type of scale. So I want you to make sure you understand that what occurs is the cities generally get larger, the utility per worker is increasing, but then we get to a point where the utility per worker is maximized, and if the city expands in population and worker population past that point, we start to see declining utility. So this is one of the reasons why your book talks about how cities can be too big. It's because of the fact that the costs associated with population growth start to outweigh the benefits that you might get from population growth within a particular city.